why did we all start doing certain things? I started playing basketball because like I loved it. Like, with my brothers and stuff like that. Yeah.
You're scrolling on Instagram, you see a video of Kobe Bryant
Not
working,
sustainable.
you
I
get
know,
fired up. Oh, I'm
exactly.
gonna go in the gym. I'm gonna take 1,000 shots a day. Blah blah blah. And then that emotion, because that's all emotion. That's what it is. Once that cools down and comes back down, you're like, I don't feel like going. I don't have that motivation. All right. Here with Anderson Cummins, Polaris Prep point guard, UVA Wise commit. Thanks for joining us today. How you doing today, man?
Great, man.
Good.
Glad to be here.
For sure. So, UVA Wise commit. We're gonna get into that a little bit. But first, just want to start by asking you a little bit about your background, your story, like when you started hooping, what made you fall in love with the game, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, so my dad actually played professional cricket, right? And he met my mom while he was playing. And from there in Canada, that's when they started a family. And he started coaching my brothers at a young age because they were into basketball, trying to get them into sports and whatnot. And from that, I feel like you can see where the story's going. Like,
Yep.
I grew up into it. You know what I mean? My dad was an athlete, and my mom was so involved with sports as well. And then my brothers fell in love with the game. And from a kid, like I remember being on my driveway, and when I was too small to compete with my brothers or whatever, I would still try anyways, and still they would still bust my ass. But like, I would sit on my driveway, watch them hoop. You know what I mean? And then I got into basketball early, like grade 2.
Wow.
Like grade 2, something like that. Put on a team, Whitby Saints, actually. Yeah, Whitby Saints. I don't know if you know about Whitby Saints. Whitby Saints, and then Gators, and early on to Triple Balance. And from there, I was within the Canada League program, and that's where my story really started. Yeah.
So interesting, like athletic background, not just basketball. Like obviously you talked about your brothers, but your dad kind of knowing what it takes to be a professional athlete, just the approach off of the court. But your brothers both played at the next level. What type of impact did that have on you from a young age?
Yeah, it's really like night and day when I look at it from my own perspective, but also step out of myself and look at it objectively, because they've made mistakes, you know, and at the same time they've walked the path, so not mistakes, but like things that led them to be where they are and successful in that, right? So listening to them and then also honing in on my own skills and my own abilities and combining all of that, I really felt like I was able to put myself in a position to succeed every place I've been and every step of the way. So that's really good, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you even brought up the point of being too young or too small to compete with them, but you did anyways. So you kind of got used to that physicality early and just playing against guys who, like I said, played at the next level. So obviously that's huge. Tell me about your decision on choosing Polaris Prep at the start of this season, and kind of what went into that, what you were looking for, and what you feel like you learned, what you accomplished by being here.
I was at Victory Academy for 2 years previously. I don't know if we were in the NPA or the NPA wasn't live at the time.
Yeah,
so we were in that
OSBA,
league.
right?
Yeah, we were in OSBA, but I was still playing similar ways that I am now, meaning I was doing what I needed to do at the same spot and the same rate, but I really didn't feel like it was the best position for me. We had a great team at times. I was playing with Sean Blake. That was our backcourt last year, and then the year before that, we had a strong team as well. But really, I got to meet Coach Ray because we were talking about playing in the summer for Canada Elite. I was going to play under him, same ways. So that's how I introduced that relationship. You know what I mean? And from there, it was just more conversations about what he's trying to do. And then you see the New Horizon program, and same way they've been doing their things consistently over the years. And that really aligned with me. And after speaking to Coach Ray from what's above, like under the surface, and getting to know him and what the guys are about, and I've also seen these guys growing up, so it wasn't really unfamiliar coming here.
Yep.
I just felt it was like putting me in the best position to succeed.
Yeah, no, that's true. A lot of the guys, obviously, you played Canada Elite. A lot of guys that Ray himself coaching with Canada Elite, so it wasn't really like a new environment, although it was, but it's familiar at the same time. So, you know, obviously, you guys have your court out there, and we have our office here. So, you know, we've been able to see you guys from the start of the season, the preseason scrimmages. So to be able to track that growth throughout the season, you know, it's been pretty cool to see. So UVA Wise, NCAA Division II, and we were kind of talking before the camera turned on about your decision because you had interest at the Division I level, mid-major, like schools like seriously inquiring, but you decided to go somewhere, like you said, where you feel like you're gonna have an impact right away. So tell me about your decision about making that choice over, like we talked about, some guys just want to go Division I to say they went Division I, but it doesn't end up working out. So tell us about that, the thought process behind that decision.
Yeah, like we were talking about before, my family, my brothers, that like my mom, my dad, that played a huge role in it because through the whole journey, like since I came into high school, it was really like, it was difficult because I've always had the same goal. Same way when I came to high school, some people pick it up and they realize they can actually do it. Grade 9, no matter the means, whatever, you ask me the same question, I'm saying I'm going to the NBA. Like that's me, that's who I am.
Yep.
Then I was coming to high school like 5'3", 90 pounds, soaking wet.
Wow.
Same ways, like I didn't care who asked me, whatever. But at that time, and having those goals, you could imagine the feedback that you get from that, right? So my decision really came from my intentions and like, what do I want from this long term?
Yep.
And what I want from it long term, like I can't look at it that way everywhere I go. So I've been able to develop a mindset where it's like step by step, day by day. And the biggest thing for me right now is winning and being in a place where I feel is a good environment to grow. The start of the season, Coach Ray asked me like, where do I want to go next year? What are my ideas on that? And from then I told him the place that offers me the best opportunity for growth, right? And through the whole process, UVA has been like really in touch, and we've been talking a lot and getting to know the guys down there, the coaching staff, and watching film on their team and what they have to offer as a program. That's been a no-brainer decision after some time.
Yeah. No, that's super interesting. Just having that self-awareness. I feel like a lot of kids in high school and your age, it's tough to develop because you're still growing up and figuring out who you are. But for me, like when I see you, like obviously like I said, the things on the court as a point guard, they stood out. Like you're quick point guard, you can get to your spots, you can score, you could also facilitate, and you compete. But I think that mental maturity is what separates you. And just hearing you talk about your decision and how you made that out now,
It's a marathon.
It's true, man. You got to think about that long term. So, like that mental approach of yours, did that come from, like you mentioned, your dad being a professional athlete and you're seeing your brothers? Did that come from your environment growing up, or tell us about that mental approach because that's a serious difference maker at the next level for sure.
That's another thing about it. Like, sounds corny, but like the king of the jungle and animals. And their rights, like the strongest, there's the fastest, like the cheetah, and then there's the most poisonous. But you look at the king of the jungle and you think it's the lion, right? Yeah. But why is that? It's not the strongest, it's not the fastest, it's not none of that. It comes like straight from here. And same way at every single level. Like that's no different. Every single level, every single realm, whatever industry you're talking about, it comes from here. Like everybody has the means. Like you could bring me somebody, and if they have the dedication plus the right mindset, there's no reason they can't achieve anything. Of course, it takes way longer for some people and way less time for others, but everybody really has the means. But it's just about training your mind in a certain way. And where it came from for me, it was definitely my family. That's where it started. Like I have to give all thanks to them and the people around me. Like the way my mom unconditionally supports me, loves me in every single way, but at the same time, like the advice that I could get from her, from the things that she's went through in life, and talking to her on a deeper level, even about the stuff like, you'd only talk to your mom about, and then I'm actually receptive to what she's saying. Same thing with my mom, or my dad, and my brothers. And then I have other family members, and then meeting people along the way like Ray Kim and like others, and learning from that. But at the same time, I had to take it on my own, coming into this early, because I was at Victory Prep grade 11. Right? But even before then, a lot of the times, like the things I was doing when nobody was watching, it's really like everything was purposeful. Like everything I'd done was stepping with reason. Like before games at Victory, I had a book in my hand, like reading, because I went through the mental stuff same ways, like overthinking and being an unconfident player. You see like posts about it and whatever. That's a real thing. And like I've been through the downs by myself.
Yeah.
Being at a prep school, living away from home, and whatever. Of course, I always had them, but at the same time, like I had to learn things by myself through self-development and actually taking the time to read books. Like, why am I thinking this way? How do I change that? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
That's some deep stuff, man, because like the mental game is big, but also just like players and I guess teenagers in general dealing with mental health and not really knowing why you feel a certain way. But like you said, diving into the psychology, it's like, okay, everything has a why. Where does this stem from? Where's this fear or unconfidence coming from? And then you're able to unpack it. I think of a Kobe interview. He basically said the same thing. Once you start to unpack it, you realize, okay, this is why, and then you attack it as opposed to shying away from it, and ultimately you're able to build on it. So, man, that's
book I read like 3 times over.
Wow.
I have it in my room because everything he said too, like he's done it before. These guys are blueprints. That's what my brothers always told me. Like, you know, you learn from them. So like,
no, that's serious, man. So where do you feel like you made the biggest improvements this past season, and which areas right now? I mean, you just came off of a workout. Which areas right now are you trying to develop the most? So yeah, where do you feel like you are already improved, and still going forward this summer, what do you want to improve on?
For me, it's always been like about taking the right shots. So like my percentages in each realm has always been good, and cleaning up on my assist to turnover ratio early on, especially like last year coming in. That's something I wanted to develop on, and then these playoffs, you've seen I was averaging higher assists, like
you had like one turnover, I think, in 3 games or something.
That's definitely something that I aim to improve this year. I think I did that pretty well.
Yeah.
Going to the next level is just shooting the ball at a higher volume. Like my percentages is something that I'm confident in, but just being able to shoot the ball more, way deeper. You know what I mean? So it translates further on in my career.
Yeah, no, for sure. That makes sense. You said you've been speaking with the staff over there closely. What can they expect? And then also just like general fan base over there, anybody else, like what can we expect from you next season?
So, I mean, everyone who's talked to me already, and if they don't know me, is that they're getting a dog. You know what I mean? Like, I'll do anything to win. That's really my mindset. Any position you need me in to contribute to winning, that's where I'm at. Guard anybody, go at anybody, anything within the game. Like, that's me. You'll see me on the court all the time. If you walk in that gym, you'll probably see me in there. Live in that gym. I've seen it. It's a beautiful gym. I don't know if you've seen it. UVA Wise, like the stadium is really nice. Same with the facilities outside of the stadium. So utilizing those for sure. And, you know, off the court as well, definitely on the academic side, like some courses that I've looked into there is stuff I want to get into. So I'm excited about the whole experience. And
nice.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Yeah, obviously the facility parts is big, like that you can utilize their resources and improve. So are there any players you try to model your game after, or anybody that you try to look at and take pieces of their game? Or obviously you had your brothers to look up to growing up, but you know, is there anybody, whether it's at the NBA level, NCAA level right now, or anybody you feel like you want to take pieces of or model their game after, or model your game after theirs? Anybody that comes to mind for you? Or
I feel like my player comparison has always been Shea, just the pacing stuff, right? I feel like I'm like more dynamic in the sense of like quickness and using my athleticism, but that pace is definitely something because then if you have the athleticism and all that, you can utilize it whenever. But like the ability to slow down and control defenders, because that's really what he does.
Get to your spots,
you know what I mean? Like, him for sure. Him for sure. I think all the shooters, like top level shooters, I'm talking like Curry, them, moving off the ball, be able to shoot the ball like that. So just bits and pieces from different players.
A little bit of everyone.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any freshman season goals? Like you talked about, you want to win. Like, is it you guys are trying to come in, win your conference? Are you trying to
win the conference and go dancing? All that. So that's what's written down in my notebook. That's what.
Nice. So you write it down and you're visualizing it every day when you're looking at that. It's coming to life.
Yeah. A lot of my goals, whether it's on the court or off the court, I learned to like that writing stuff down is huge. Like, write it down, plan it out, and then also like if you were that person, what did they do every day on a daily basis to achieve that goal? And then you just live that, and it ends up coming to you.
Yeah. Man, I just think that can be so useful for kids coming up or kids trying to get to where you're at, like committing to a school at the next level. Like, what would you say, whether it's a high school freshman or a kid that's got one more year of high school or a kid that's in the 5th or 6th grade? Like, what type of advice would you have for them on that type of stuff? Because you made a lot of interesting points about the mental side of it, your preparation on a day-to-day, the type of things you do off the court, but then obviously on the court type stuff. Just any overall advice you'd have, I guess, for the younger generation?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, the thing I said about taking a step back from it, you really got to do that and look at this thing. Like, take yourself out of yourself and, like, look at it all. Like, as human beings, we have different places we fall in society, and whether you like it or not, that's going to end up happening.
Yep.
Right? It's just where you want to be and how you want to get there, all of that, right? So I think no matter your position in life or situation, status, whatever, if you have a certain goal, you have to know how to get there logically. How do you get there, right? How do I go about my day every single day to get to where I want to be? And then you simply just live that, right? Because there's a whole thing about statistics and stigma around achieving something like a really high goal. And I feel like that's just envy and hatred from a lot of people. But same way is like there's a certain level of dedication that you have to it. And if you know like in your soul that you can do that, right? You could do this every single day, then the statistics, put that out the door and do the things every single day to be that person, like consistently. You know what I mean? Because you look at certain people like yourself and people who walk through this building, myself, like being in the position I was and saying where I want to go, it's not tangible. Like looking at me, you speak to me, it shouldn't happen. Like, you know what I mean? Knowing that, now I could go into this university thing with the athleticism I have and knowing it's going to be the same thing. Right? I'm just going to stick to the work, have good people around me, communicate myself, and continue to learn. So it's learning what you need to do and then doing that
and doing it, like taking care of business. Like it's the small wins, like you said. Like you don't want to get so attached to the end goal. It's the process and the journey, like you said, the marathon.
Also, like remember your why and do it for that every day. Because like you were saying about we were talking earlier, I don't know if it was on camera, but the whys, and there's a why to everything. For basketball, like you see me in the gym, whether I'm by myself with somebody dancing, stuff like that, it's because like, why did we all start doing certain things? I started playing basketball because like I loved it. With my brothers and stuff like that, I truly played because it was fun. Whether my mom was watching, whatever. Now there's starting to be people like following me and fans, stuff like that. And that stuff's addictive. Don't get me wrong, but like if you keep doing it for those reasons, you'll get lost. And then you're not gonna get to where you really want to.
That's not why you really started.
Why I play the game is because I love it. And I can come in here whether no one's watching or nobody knows. And,
and still do what you need to do. Yeah, man, that's super important, remembering your why. For me, it's like there's a big difference between motivation and discipline. Anybody can get motivation for 1 day, 2 days, a week, sometimes even a month. But if you're relying on that motivation, then it's not sustainable. Like you're scrolling on Instagram, you see a video of Kobe Bryant working, you get fired up. Oh, I'm gonna go in the gym, I'm gonna take 1,000 shots a day, blah blah blah, and then that emotion, because that's all emotion, that's what it is. Once that cools down and comes back down, you're like, I don't feel like going, I don't have that motivation. But if you have that discipline, it's like, okay, I'm treating this almost as if it's a job. I got to come in the gym, I got to stretch, I got to watch film, I got to do all that. And that way you're almost removing the emotion aspect, because that emotion is what makes us go too high or too low.
That's the thing. You have to find your median and your peace and really flow with that. And like, it doesn't even have to be like, I have to do this. That's the thing. Like, this stuff could be fun. Like when you're in high school, a lot of times, especially if you're not in a prep school or an environment that everyone has similar goals, it's gonna be hard. Like you're gonna see people who want to do other things, and it's not as fun. That's why being in the right environment, no matter where, if they have similar goals and they're on their stuff the same way, it's definitely good nonetheless. But like, your friends could be the ones coming to the gym with you. You can go with your friends to hoop. You can be by yourself, listening to your music and play basketball. Like, there's nothing wrong with all that stuff. Like that could be something fun as well.
For sure.
And then it also that discipline breeds the motivation. Same ways.
Exactly.
And like everything else comes from it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Having fun with it at the end of the day, still, right? You don't want to lose that part of it. No, that's good, man. I think we touched on a lot of points. Is there anything the world doesn't know, like any fun facts. I know we talked about some stuff. I don't know if you want to bring it up here. Like last week, we talked about some
Yeah.
stuff you're working on off the court.
Yeah, I mean, I've been developing an app for like 6 months.
high-level stuff,
man.
man.
And that's another thing. Like, I've also realized, like, this basketball stuff, I dedicate myself to every single day, and it's something that I will do for years to come. Same way as like, what am I doing off the court? Like when I'm not watching basketball or learning the game or reading books about it, and how do I spend my time that way? I really just try to figure out different routes and stuff, because it's also a business at certain levels.
Yeah.
And a lot of NBA players, once they get to that spot, they branch out into other stuff like entrepreneurship
Yeah.
and whatever. But I realize I could do that now. Like
Yeah.
like my older brother works for a company. He's downtown Toronto right now. He played at McGill, but he chose to go that route and with software development. And same with my
Serious,
dad
yeah.
after he played professionally, right? So learning from them that stuff. I was doing coding when I was younger,
Wow.
and now I know how to move certain pieces where like there's certain things I could outsource and whatever. So I've been developing a business that I think is gonna change the world, no doubt. So I'm really excited about that.
What's the app about? I remember you told me it's about like, helping players get their brands up and building that type of stuff.
So obviously, right now I can't say too much, but
Okay.
streamlining the influencer marketing process. I'll say that much.
Okay, that's good. That's good enough, man. Stay tuned when it comes to that. But now, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
Definitely
I love
looking
this.
forward.
Yeah.
To tracking your journey.
Appreciate it.
And it's always family when it comes to NPH. So, anything you need on our end, we got you. So,
Appreciate it.
cool. All right, man. That was good.